Okay, so we were halfway through our machine learning Titanic API. Uh, we finished the urls.py part of our project, the settings.py, and also creating the database table. We were unable to migrate it till now because we need to create a serializer first and the view set as well, just because we have mentioned it before. If we wouldn't have mentioned it, we could have easily migrated it first. But anyways, it will at the end it's the same thing. So now the first part that I would like to do is create the serializer file in our application directory. So I'll name it as serializer.py. Okay, now inside this, serializers are related to the REST framework, right? I would like to dock it down for now. So I'll import the REST framework. So from REST underscore framework, I'll import serializers. I'll say serializers, and we'll also have to import our model here. So I'll say from app underscore Titanic dot models, import the model name that was Titanic only. I'll say Titanic, not the view set, Titanic only. And from Django dot contrib dot admin, not admin, dot authentication dot models, we'll just import user. Okay, and now what we'll do is we create the serializer class first. So I'll name the serializer in the same convention that I used in the college API. So I'll just name it as Titanic serializer. Titanic serializer, okay. And again, hyperlink model serializer will be used. So I'll say serializers dot hyperlinked model serializer. Yes. And inside this, we always need a meta class to be created. So we'll create a meta class, and inside this meta class, we'll mention model equal to the model name that was Titanic, and we'll have to mention the fields that were used inside our model. So in the college API, I just used underscore underscore all underscore underscore. Now I'll just show you how, if you just want to, suppose, don't have to mention all the fields inside the serializer and just some of them. So you can create a dictionary, and inside the dictionary, what you can do is mention all the fields you want. So I want, for now I need all of them. So I'll say except the survived class, the field, not the class. So I won't mention it. So I'll say passenger ID. I'll say P class. Then I'll say uh yes, it name was there. Then I'll just check whatever was there here. Name, gender, age, siblings per person. I'll mention it in the same order. One second. Yeah. Then gender, age. Then I would like to uh, siblings and spouses. Again, I am saying wrong. Siblings per person is wrong. It's siblings and spouses. Then PR. Then what was there? Ticket, fare, cabin, embarked. Okay. So ticket, fare, cabin, and embarked. Okay, so this was our serializer. Yes, we don't need anything else here. Now, moving on to the views.py. Now, inside this views.py, the serializer links the model.py. Models.py has urls.py and stuff, but the views.py has each and everything. So now we'll have to create a view set first. So we'll import the REST framework, and from that I'll say import view sets, import view sets, and I'll say from app underscore Titanic, we'll need the models, right? So models, and from that we have only one model inside the models.py, that's the name Titanic. Then we'll need a serializer as well. So from app underscore Titanic dot serializers, I'll say import Titanic serializer. And now, okay, so we will have to create a separate machine learning code or Python file inside our application.py, and we'll have to call it in a views.py and then get a response from it. So what will happen is Django will input the user value. Suppose I'll input the age, the name of the person, the gender of the person, and everything. Django will take it. Django will send it to the machine learning code that will be present inside our application directory. Just because it's present in the application directory doesn't mean it's a part of it. It's just because I have moved the data set there, the Titanic.csv here at the start of the project, that I'll mention it there. So what I will do here is I'll just import it. I'll make one machine learning Python file. Suppose I name it as TIML, that says Titanic Machine Learning. Okay, so I'll say it as TIML. So I'll also put it in the application directory. So I'll say from app underscore Titanic, I'll just import our machine learning code. I'll name it as TIML. And first, before forgetting, I'll also create one Python file named timl.py. Okay, we have created a timl.py. Now, what we will, I told you, right? Django will input the data and then pass it to TIML. For that, we'll need something to respond, right, to Django, to the machine learning code, and again back to the Django REST framework. So for that, we'll have to import from REST underscore framework dot response. We'll import response. The R should be capital, and again from Django dot contrib dot auth dot models import user. Now, the way you mention your Titanic view set here, that same syntax or the initialization, you will have to use it inside your Titanic machine learning Python file as well. So this part is a bit dicey, and you will have to be very, very careful when it comes to this part. So what we will do now is we'll write some part of it, and the definition part, when it comes to going through the machine learning code, we'll do it in the next video. So we'll just write half the part. That's we'll no, not define, we'll create a class, because we have to create a view set. So it will be named as Titanic view set, and again we will say, as in the college API, view sets dot model view set model view set, and inside that we'll mention a query set, and the query set will contain all the Titanic objects. So I'll say Titanic model, Titanic objects dot all, and I'll just order it by ID. Order it means just to rearrange it ID wise. I'll just mention it, order it. So order by, and in brackets and quotes I'll mention hyphen ID. Okay, so the late, why this? Because why minus ID? Because I will need the latest ID or the latest entry that I'll put inside. In order to predict, I'll need that. The value that the model will predict and get us, I'll need the most latest value, right? So that's why I've used hyphen ID, and the serializer class, serializer underscore class, will be Titanic serializer, as we named it before. And now we'll just create a function saying, why are we creating a create function? Well, this create function is already initialized by Django. But if we are creating one more function of the same name, what does this mean? This means that we are overriding the initial create. Initial create of Django just creates an entry and stores it in the database and just displays it. It doesn't predict your ML model result or anything. So for that, when we are overriding something, we have to mention self as an argument, because we will use self first. Then we'll have to request, right? This Django view will render or request a result from the machine learning code rtiml.py. So this function will request a result from the machine learning code by inputting the data we'll use on Django. So we'll use request here, and I don't know how many arguments are there or what is the content of the Django code of create. I don't know what's the pre-written code or the commands or the function that's been defined in create for Django. So just to be safe, I don't know the number of arguments, so I'll just use args and quarks. Args and quarks is a technique where you don't know the arguments and you need to override something. This, it's not the only use. You can Google it for what are args and quarks. That isn't the motive here. If you just randomly make any machine learning Django project and randomly override it in the same way I am going to do, that's more than enough. You don't need to know the back stuff. So I'll just define it, and inside this we are going to create a view set. So I'll say view sets dot model view set that we have imported first, and I call the create function here again, recursion create, and again the same thing, all these arguments. So I'll just copy, control C, control V, args, quarks, real self, and request is there. And now the machine learning inputting part. I'll define something as an object first, that's equal to OB for now. I'll say Titanic dot objects. What are objects? Whatever the data set that we have passed in the models.py, that is the database table. This Titanic model that we have imported in the third line, we are calling it here now. So it's Titanic dot objects, and again we'll arrange it latest by ID because we'll need the most latest response or the result that the machine learning model would predict. And we create one more variable saying survived, so SUR for that, and survived or not is the value to be extracted. So TIML dot predict, we'll have to create a predict function now inside our machine learning code. That's TIML. We'll have to define a predict function that will have an argument as object of Titanic model class, and we'll have to pass it here. And what we have to return is, we'll just have to return the response of, let's say, the status, whether it's successful or not. Status, I'm passing a dictionary here again. Status saying success. And one more thing that we will need is, let's say, yes, survived. Okay, so survived. We are writing this because JSON format data will be given to us by our model. So survived, then the survived value SUR. If it's 0, the person dies. If it's 1, the person will be alive. And we can just leave it here, or else we can do one thing. We'll just define something like temp here. I'll just say temporary, and if anything it wants to show us, it will show it to us now. So this is enough when it comes to the Django section of your code. Now, the only thing that we need to keep in mind is we have to define a function inside our model Titanic machine learning Python file, a machine learning model, and the name of the function that we are going to define should be pred, denoting prediction. So this was enough for this session. Now I will wrap up the machine learning code in the next video. So stay tuned, because everything is under this hood is going to come under one picture in the next video. So thanks a lot for your patience, and stay tuned for the next video.